What if the grant problem is a value perception problem? What if it's not so much inaccessibility, not knowing how to fill out a grant proposal, not understanding the process? What if that's really a value perception? That means when you're not ready for grants, it looks like you have an infrastructure problem, which you do have an infrastructure problem because you haven't planned to receive the funds that you're asking for. You haven't set in motion the scaffolding and the mechanisms, the operating system that would demonstrate that you have a solution worth investing in. And in order to get there must be a value perception block. Because if you believe in what you do and you believe it with your whole heart and you have deep passion around it, which if you're a nonprofit, usually, and you're a founder, usually there is deep passion. But if you're not able to position that which you love for funding, it seems like it could be a value problem. Now, I've been diving deep into this probably for the past 6 months, maybe longer. It's just in the recent weeks, it's become ever more clear that it's an identity issue with the organization itself. So if you don't believe you're going to get funded, or if you don't believe that you're going to be resourced, then you're not going to prepare and plan to be resourced. It's just that simple. You probably believe in what you've put together, what you've created, what you've started, and you see the impact that you're making. But if there's some unresolved value perception inside of you as a leader, then no matter what you do, no matter what you believe, what you think, if there's an unconscious belief and an unconscious pattern that predisposes you to make the kinds of choices that keeps that funding away, that puts a wall or a barrier between you and the resources you desire, that is an unconscious block. And this is big, actually, because it goes deeper than we're locked out, we're blocked out. I always knew as a data analyst that infrastructure was the problem. With all the years I've worked in corporate, I'm very clear on how the infrastructure works and how an operating system works and how important it is to operations and efficiency and financial stewardship. It is highly important. But in order for us to be at the place where we're not inquiring about infrastructure, especially in this day and age when there's so much infrastructure, there's so many tools, there's so much available to us to make this happen, and yet it doesn't happen. So that begs the question, what's the real problem? It is a capacity problem, but it's not necessarily a technological capacity problem. In every organization, you've got people, you've got processes, and you've got technology. And when you look at a well-oiled machine, an operating system, and a company, a for-profit business that's running really well and has high profit margins, they are investing in their people, they're investing in their processes, and they're investing in their technologies. And it's the people who use the technology to execute the processes. So they must flow hand in hand. And if there's something missing there, then there would have to be something missing in the leadership. There's something that is limiting or keeping those tools away from the organization, the business, whatever we're talking about. But there's something that stands between the leadership and the business, the operations of the organization, the outcomes. And whatever that is, it's internal and it creates a block. It's internal, so it's hard to see. The only way you can see these kinds of things is by evaluating the experience, letting the experience be a mirror that reflects back to you what's really going on here. A lot of times nonprofits will give their grant writing to a grant writer. They'll hire a consultant. And while that is good and helpful, what does that say about your internal capacity? What does that say about how you feel about your funding strategies, about your planning strategies, about your implementation strategy? What does that say about your operational system? How does that support your people, processes, and technology if you're outsourcing your funding capacity? Wouldn't you want to own that in-house so that you're available for every opportunity that you come across? Because if you hire a grant writer, no knock against a grant writer, I've been one, and at times I am still one. But when you have an organization that is dependent on financial gifts and donations and things like that, it would seem that you would want to do all that you can to be in the best financial position, especially when there's so much money available to be invested and gifted to nonprofits that are demonstrating impact. So the question is, what is keeping you, leader, from demonstrating on paper your impact? Is it that there's a lack of capability, a lack of understanding? Or is it that you don't feel like it would be well received? Do you feel that the work that you do would be criticized if it were to be evaluated? Do you feel like it would be judged because of what you don't know or because of how you're doing the work that you're doing? Because we're all in need of support. And that's why there's so many services, there's so many technologies that have been built and that are available to assist us. So I just wanted to offer that as a reflection. I do a lot of deep reflecting myself on, my personal life, my career, that part of my life, my finances, my relationships. And I've learned a lot over the years through simple reflection, looking at the experience and asking, what is this experience telling me? What is this experience teaching me? If the experience is financial lack, if it is we aren't seen, we're not getting funding, we're applying for grants and we're being passed over, we're not being acknowledged, our work isn't valued. Ask yourself, why is that the experience? Why is that the reflection? And not in a way where you're judging or criticizing yourself or your operations or your organization. It's just to reflect on, why is this the reality? And what am I to learn from this? And how do I move out of this container of limitation? How do I change the experience within this reality, within this container of lack? Thank you for letting me reflect that. It is such a joy of mine to be able to do that. I'm an author of a book called Reboot, Organizational Transformation for Nonprofits. It's late. It's like 1:00 in the morning. And I am the founder of FundReady. And I look forward to connecting with you more, assisting you to go into the deeper layers and to really see what's really going on. Not from a place of judgment or criticism, but from a place of improvement, continuous improvement. That's what they call it in corporate America, continuous improvement. How do we continue to improve upon what we have done and what we are doing so that we get better and better at what we do and we have greater and greater impact in our community? Thank you for being here. My name is Stephanie. Once again, I am the founder of FundReady and the author of Reboot, and I'll see you next time.